Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brief edition of the news, if you like. I just wanted to bring you a couple of things and an announcement or two, so bear with me. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've all had a nice weekend and have got into your weeks good, in one piece, and relatively serene. I'm doing all right, thank you very much. I've had an okay weekend, been quite busy at times. The weather's been very up and down, as it were. But apart from that, I can't complain. Well, I could, but it wouldn't help. Anyway, cracking on. I just wanted to bring a couple of bits and bobs. For example, on Friday, I went with a friend to an initiative on a bridge outside of Bournemouth, whereby some people were hanging a couple of banners from each side of the bridge for traffic below to see. And I'd heard of these initiatives, but I wanted to just take a closer look myself because, as is the way with those who carry out research correctly, first-hand information is always the way to go. Always. Not documents and not someone else's footage. Anyway, going back to that, so I went and took a look myself, and I got to say the resonance was very, very good, and I was exceedingly surprised that it was that positive. A lot of people reacted to the banners that they were reading, and just so you know what banners they were reading, one of them talked about people dying suddenly and asking the question why, and the other banner talked about the cashless society that is upon us, and the fact that basically it ain't a very good idea, is it? If you give it a bit of thought. Yes, so I witnessed it. I was there for a few hours. I took a look. I listened. I watched the traffic. I even got some feedback of some locals that were walking their doggies and stuff like that. Not all of it was positive, but then you are never going to please everybody. And, that's just the way life is. You have to focus on what you truly are doing in that moment, and don't let yourself get swayed by other things. Remain focused, but remain nice and calm in the process. It's tricky, but it's definitely doable, and it takes practice. But anyway, I'm glad I went. I did get that response. I did get that feedback from the responses, I should say. And I will be going to another one. But the messages that are being put on display there are the same messages that we talk about when we do our vigils in Bournemouth Gardens, and that is, look, these things are upon us or are actually happening right now. We are literally just pointing out an observation. Nobody's sitting in a corner going, well, this could happen, that could happen. No. The last 3 years, or the consequences thereof, for example, certain procedures that have been rolled out, right, they are palpable right now. They are happening right now as we speak. People are suffering right now from what happened in the last 3 years. People have died. People are dying. People are suffering from mental health because of what happened over the last 3 years, and the fear that has extended therefrom because of the threat of it happening again and again and again. That's where we're at. And Friday was proof unequivocal for me as to where people are on this topic. And they're very much in our camp. Our camp being not only question bloody everything, but look at the timing of what happened. Open your eyes, for God's sakes, as to what the hell happened, and drop the denial, and let's talk about this and get something frigging done. You're not going to get any help from your doctors or anybody else like that. They're the ones who perpetrated it in the first place, whether they knew about it or not. And not knowing about it doesn't make it better or doesn't make it less illegal in my book. But then I don't write the laws, do I? So it ain't my book in the first place. Anyway, but I went there. I'm glad I went there, and I will go there again. And I'll say another thing to that. If anybody gets the chance to do a couple of banners and put those messages out, you'll be surprised at the feedback you're going to get. You'll be surprised. Very, very positive. We all know there's shit going down, and I'll say it how it is. We all know there's stuff happening. We all know it. And but the fear is there to see for all, honestly. People are absolutely scared. They're confused, and they don't know what to do, what to think. So what do most do? they then do what they always do, and that is side with authority, because it's a comfort. It's something they're used to doing, and better the devil you know, right? Wrong. What's best is to use your own observations and trust your own senses and take a look yourself and do some research yourself, create your own networks, use your own discernment, and don't give yourself satisfied with something that you're not satisfied with, but continue. And if you don't know something for that moment, or you can't discover something in that moment, and you park it and you leave it there for a moment and you continue with something else. But what you don't do is bury your head in the sand and just go, oh, go on then, just so as long as I've got my peace and quiet. No. Because that has consequences, as will be the moment when cash disappears from our society for good, and everybody's going to be stood there with a thumbs up their asses, wondering what the hell hit them. What you're going to do? And so you got people like me bitching about it every 5 minutes. But I don't just do it here in the camera. I do it when I'm out talking to people. If the moment and the opportunity comes up to talk about this topic, I will. I will. Most definitely I will. You know, time is of the essence. It's running away from us. We're on a clock. We're on a clock. You know, things are intensifying. It's very clear to see. You can see it with stuff that's going up above our heads. I put enough videos out about that. We see it with the stuff that goes on below our feet in the form of roadworks. I've put enough videos out about that. We see it on the sides of poles and the top and bottom of lampposts on the sides of our streets. I put videos out about that. They're observations. I'm not sitting in a corner making up stories. I am simply reporting to you what I'm seeing. That in itself should be scary enough, because it takes me often a while to click onto something. I can be a bit of a slow burner at the beginning. I learn very quickly after that, but sometimes it takes me a little while to click onto it. It's taken me a while to click onto certain stuff. Now I'm noticing it all. Why isn't anyone else? Well, that's unfair. There are some who are, but there aren't enough, I feel. You know, there are still too many who go with headline news, who go with the odd headline from known liars who knowingly, or known to us most definitely, fully endorse, support, and are part of the whole control mechanism in the first place. You know, I'll give you an example. I watched a load of episodes of something very, very funny, a TV show, and it was talk about the inside workings, really, of press officers and stuff like that within politics. But here's the interesting bit. All roads led to media. All roads led to media. You know, if there was a politician in hot water about something or other, the team would always be gathered round a bloody TV set. Always. Right? It was always key. Media. That is how the battle is fought. And that is why the likes of myself and many others have no other option but to do it like this. Try it out via your own channels and all the rest of it in terms of media. Now, the only other way you can do it is just like how they did it on the bridge on Friday, or as was done on the bridge on Friday, which I think was brilliant way of doing it. You only need a handful of people and a couple of banners, and that's it. The message is clear and everybody knows. Those who don't know or don't realise, well, you're either too frigging stupid, you're either too ignorant, or you're handled. Take your pick out of those three. Anyway, without me saying something I might regret, but then again, in whose eyes, regrettable. Moving on quickly, there is one or two other things I wanted to talk about. You know, when we talk about narratives, for example, it's something I spoke to a close friend yesterday about a few things, and you know, I've never heard so much communicating about stories that are being pushed at the moment. You know, whether it's these world setting itself alight stories from Hawaii, an island surrounded by water, by the way, or whether it's stories about people being not allowed into shops and certain events because the new facial recognition software that's been used in the cameras isn't quite working yet, or whether it's showing driverless taxis having teething problems on the streets in America because they're rolling out now the driverless cars that I've been talking about for the last 3 years, that have also been mentioned very clearly in UK Highway Code, the book that you have to study before you're allowed to go for your practical driving test here in England. So clearly it is all upon us. So nobody can point a finger and say, you tin foil hat wearing this, that and the other. Absolutely not. It's right there for everybody to see. Now, it is still in people's hands as to what goes on with all of this. Because if you don't comply, nothing happens. Right? It's that simple. And it's always been that simple. It was that simple over the past 3 years. But unfortunately, too many people fell for the bullying, basically, the bullying tactics. You know. So I'm glad to say that the message seems to be getting out there. People are noticing stuff, and they are, where they can, responding to it, and in a positive way. But, you know, the other stuff, the media stuff that gets pushed, and you're still finding people falling for it because they're paying attention to it. I'm paying attention to the people talking about it. I'd never even, this is my honest truth, I never even knew about the so-called fires in Hawaii until I heard other people talking about it. And then I thought, what? Again? You know, for example. And so I just took a little closer look, and then it became very clear very quickly. If anybody hasn't had a chance, by the way, to understand why people called that out immediately, pretty much, then take a look at energy weapons and directed energies and stuff like that, and research it correctly as well. You know, don't go looking for CNN news headlines, right? It's not research to type into a Google bar energy weapons. That's not research, right? If you don't know what research is, I ain't helping you here. But that is not research. I've had that as well so many times. When I've said something, the person next to me is going, I'm going to look that up, like they're in a library. Well, they're on an online library. But again, the online library is under the auspices of Google. Just like the state library is under the auspices of the government. The government under the auspices of their masters, right? Etc., etc. That's how that works. It's all controlled, and controlled even more, and controlled even more. It's layers upon layers. Again, I know people who keep saying to me they know that. Well, if you know that, why do you still buy into it? Why do you buy into it? You know. So we will see. It's another thing that I was talking about recently, which is I think things will get tricky again. You know, I'm not too sure whether people's convictions are that far yet that they will stand their ground and go, not this time. After what the mistake we made last time, we're not doing it again this time. I'd love to say that is what will happen, should it come to that. But I don't think it will. Because people, at least towards the outside, feel they have too much to lose. What do you have to lose? And I'll end with this, because this is a positive one in terms of these stories. Right? I went into a shop right near the bridge where I went. And I went in to get a cup of coffee. And there was a lady there. She'd only worked there for a few weeks. She's new to the area. Very nice woman. And we started having a conversation. And she was saying to me, well, she agreed with me about the last 3 years and how that's affected the health of so many people in so many ways, right? And she complained a little bit. And she said, well, it even cost me my job not having certain procedure done, because she refused. And I said to her, why don't you look at it this way? It cost you your job, but it saved you your life. No? Is that not worth it? How can anybody put those two on the same level of importance? I just don't understand that. If somebody can explain to me how finances and job and anything like that of that sort can be placed anywhere close to the same ballpark as your own life, then please tell me what I'm getting wrong there. Please tell me what I'm getting wrong and what I'm not understanding. Maybe I am really the dickhead that some people have told me I am, because they totally so vehemently disagree with me. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm missing something. Please tell me. I don't know. Anyway, ending on a positive, tomorrow evening, 1900 hours, Flat Earth Social, Pavilion Arms in Bournemouth, guest speaker, Mark Devlin, plenty of good stuff he'll be talking about. He has some good insight, some good knowledge, and some fascinating information on the inner workings of lots of things with lots of inner workings. So I would say if you get a chance and you're within 1,000 miles of Bournemouth tomorrow evening, then get on down here, buy yourself a pint of horrible English ale, and sit down and listen to Mark Devlin enlighten you to what is truly, all joking aside, a fascinating topic I've listened to and followed his work a little bit in the past when I've had the time, and he opened my eyes to quite a few things, I have to say. So do get down there if you can. I shall be there along with many others, I hope. 1900 hours, Pavilion Arms in Bournemouth, the Flat Earth Social. Okay, and on that note, I will just say Larry sends his regards. He's there with my pondering ape and the sleeping masses. They're always doing this here. They're looking at this thing here. A lot of pondering going on there. So I just leave them to it. It's good because it allows me to then crack on with my thing. I don't know. I always thought this thing here would be a giveaway, but they seem to be ignoring that fact there. So on this obvious observational note, I hope to see you all soon. Some of you is much sooner. Take care, and I will report back to you probably towards the end of the week with a new segment to report back about the Flat Earth Social, and I'll probably be putting another video out or two as well to talk about one or two things to do with old world buildings, because there are still people who maintain that there is nothing odd about building basement walls and putting windows in them. So on that not very transparent note, ta-ta for now.